Hello, my name's Barbara Gray from Clarity Stamps here in the UK, and it's YouTube Tuesday. So today I wanted to take out one of my favourite pieces of kit again, so to speak, the lovely Gelli Plate. And this time, instead of working with paints, I thought it would be cool to work with inks. So there are a couple of new things I want to show you today. First of all, let's get started, and we'll see where it takes us. So I'm going to work with the small Gelli Plate. I decided that the 6x6 would be useful. Now, if you've watched me before, you know when I want to line something up, I usually take my Gelli Plate and I place it down on a piece of the card that I'm going to pull the print on. So then if I put it down like that, then I can line up and pull my print. What I was noticing though when I was doing this was that whenever I took my Gelli Plate off, I noticed that it was like an oily residue, and it concerned me because I thought this must be the oil and the minerals that are in here that make this thing so wonderful. So my other half, Dave, came up with a fantastic idea, namely this. This is what we're calling a mega mount. It's a fantastic piece of kit, very, very easy. The best ideas are always the simple ones, aren't they? And you'll see here, let me just show you, it's made of acrylic, and you can line up, it's got the dimensions of the Gelli Plate etched into it. So now, because it's acrylic, of course, the mineral is not running away. And you know, it wasn't until I sat it down on here that something occurred to me. Because up until now, we've always had the Gelli Plate, especially you'll know when you use the big one, you'll really understand. Scrapbookers, altered art people, this will really appeal to you. Up until now, you do your artwork on here, for example, then you take your journal page, and I've watched you sit like this, and it's all a bit hit and miss, isn't it? And you've got your beautiful journals, and you're trying to figure out where it's going to go. So now, because it's on this huge mega mount, let me show you. You do your artwork on here, you lift it up, you turn it over, it clings, and then you can position your artwork wherever you like. Brilliant, simple, great for storage as well. Just leave it on there. So that's it really. That's the whole idea. It comes in 2 different sizes and more to follow, of course. But I think that that's a pretty cool piece of kit too, especially if you use the Gelli Plate. Right. So what I want to do today is take a look at something else as well. So stencils. We make fabulous stencils here at Clarity Stamp. In fact, we've got Clarity Stencils. And I want to show you what my daughter did for me, because I'm terrible at cleaning up. I'm a really messy crafter. And so when she came home from the States, she took one look at my stencil stash and she said, I needed help. And this is what she did. Let me show you. She made photocopies of all the stencils and put them on the front page. And then, see, we've got these lovely folders. Then she put little marks here, so this is a storage folder. And what I find absolutely brilliant is she even put which ones are missing. So here, for example, stained window shepherds. I know where it needs to go back as well. Isn't that fantastic? And today I want to use the abstract squares one, you see. So here it is. So I'll pull it out of there. That's what I'm going to use. And I know where to put it back. Very clever. Thank you very much, Grace. I love you very much too. Okay. So I've got my stencil and I've got my Gelli Plate. This is what we want to do. Now, as you know, the Gelli Plate and the stencil all fit so nicely together. So I'm just going to line this up on top of my my mount. And just for the sake of it, I'm going to put a little mark up the top. So I know that that's the top at this stage, because I want to do several layers. So it's important for me that I know which is the top. And then what I want to do is take broken, let's have a look. I've got broken china and worn lipstick. And I want to just add directly to the Gelli Plate some broken china ink, distress ink. You can use any dye-based inks. And then I'm going to get my brayer out and I'm just going to spread this across my Gelli Plate. You see, the great thing about the Gelli Plate is, of course, the stencil sticks to the plate. So I've got my colour down. And then when I lift this away, and do you know what? I'm going to add a little bit more. And this is so funny because, do you know what it is? It's because I think there's not enough on there, but I know it's rubbish, it's going to be fine. Oh, hello. Right, so we'll just spread it out like so. And then what I want to do is take a piece of copy paper as well. Let's just get rid of the excess there. Okay, nice blue, nice blue. So we'll lift this off, and now I know that there's a blue pattern on there. For your sake, what I'm going to do so that you can see it, see if I do that, you can see it much better now. You can see the blue on there. So I'm going to take some of my jelly card, and I'm going to just lay that down, line it up with the acrylic mount, and just spread that out like so. There we go. And before I forget, I just want to make a little T on there as well, a little dot, so I know that that's the top too. Okay. Then when I lift this off, you see, I've got this superb pattern, just like so. And I wouldn't be surprised if I could pull a ghost print. So this is just with distress ink, which is so interesting. Now let's do a real gentle colour too. And again, I'm just going to make a little dot there so I know that that's the T for top. Okay, so we'll pull this off, and there's a really nice light colour too. So I've got 2 generations of ink here, first generation, second generation ink. Good. I reckon that that's probably clean now. Let's just check it out. I'll just clean it off with my... Oh, it's still got some on. Isn't that amazing? Right, well, because I don't want to muddy up the colours, what I'm going to do now is take a baby wipe. You can take a spritzer or water, and we're just going to wipe off any blue that we've got left there. And I need to clean my my brayer too, because I don't want the colours to get muddied up. So if I want a really nice, pristine pink, which is what I'm going to use now, then I need to clean my tools. So I just need my paper towels to clean my bits and pieces, and of course my stencil too. So I'll just wipe this clean, and then we can start again. Now, if I didn't clean my stencil, then I would make a really nice colour. I might make a nice lilac, you know. So you can always think that through, that if you don't want to use the pink, you want to blend the colours, this is an ideal opportunity to actually blend colours too. Okay, so now I'm going to replace my stencil. I think I'll leave my stencil at the top like so. Okay, I think I'll do that. So I've put that back and the little top is up there. And then I'm going to do pink. Okay, so let's add some pink. And we're doing exactly the same thing, so that we don't confuse the issue. And this time I'm using worn lipstick, which is a nice colour too. Okay, so we'll spread this distressed ink out. It's interesting how beautiful the inks work on the Gelli Plate. Okay, so now we've done our pink, and we're going to, now this is the interesting thing. We have to decide. What I'm going to do now is turn this around, okay? So I can decide which way I want to go, but I have to turn either one or the other, either the Gelli Plate or the card around. I'm going to do it with the Gelli Plate, so top is now at the bottom. And now I'll lift this off, and then I'm going to take my artwork, but I'm going to make sure that my dot's still at the top. And that's when I know that it's going to be the opposite. Otherwise, I would just be going straight back over the top, wouldn't I? Right, so we'll take the darker one. So we're going to get a darker colour. Here we are. And then we'll lift this off. And look at that. That's pretty sharp, isn't it? I love it for a background. And then we'll pull a print with our ghost. You see, I've got my little dot that told me that that was the top last time. So we'll go back in the top again. But of course, we reverse the pattern underneath. So now I can do this, and I'll get my ghost print. Often the ghost print is prettier, it's certainly more conducive to backgrounds than the original one. So let's have a look now. I love it. Look at this. See, if you've got a baby coming, you don't know if it's a boy or a girl, you can work ahead, because this would work for both, wouldn't it? Right, so I've got my backgrounds. I've cleaned my my Gelli Plate's pretty good, and now I'm ready to finish the job. So I'll put my Gelli Plate to one side. I'll clean my stencil later when you've all gone home. And I think actually I'm going to work with the subtle one. Let's work with the really, because I want to do something quite gentle for a little girl. And I'm going to just stamp straight over the top. You see, I could use this, but it's quite dark, quite vibrant. So choices, choices. I'm going to go with the real baby pink one. Got a beautiful stamp here that my friend Annie drew. A little girl with balloons and love. And I want to stamp in a nice, crisp, dark blue over the top. So let's have a look. I just want to ink up this stamp, keep it simple. And I've got two stamps I want to use. One, I've got this little girl, and then I've also got this heart stamp. So I think I'm going to decide, you can see which way round you want your work to be. And I think I'm going to put the flowers there and the little girl there. Okay, a little bit of composition going on here. Okay, so we'll link her up in Cobalt blue. And then we're going to just get a matte stamp on. Always needs flat surface to stamp on. Okay. Right, and we're working on an absorbent type of card, the Gelli card. So we're going to let the ink soak in. 1, 2, 3. There we are. Perfect. And then we're going to put these little flowers in as well. And what I'm going to do is take a post-it and I'm going to work with one of the boxes from the abstract stencil. And I just want to mask that edge off. I think I'll put my glasses on for this. And then I'm going to take my heart grasses and I'm going to stamp so that the base of the grasses sits on the post-it like so. Right, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Now I'll lift that off and it's just sitting in that box. And really, there's not much more that I want to show you. We could trim this back and we could add a little shade with our fantastic brushes. In fact, I'll just show you on one side and you'll see what I'm up to. If I take one of our stencil brushes, here we go. Somebody thought that these were a pot of tulips. So what we're going to do, for example, now is if I wanted to take some blue, I'll just add some blue. Look, you directly from the ink pad. I'll put the blue to the base. I'll just make sure that I've got rid of the excess. And then I'm just going to gently brush along the edge of the card. And this will frame the work beautifully. There we go. You build up your colour gradually and it looks almost airbrushed as it catches the edge. There we go, round we go. You see, you don't realise how much you've actually added until you look at the paper underneath and then you realise actually there's loads on there. But you build it up gradually. Nice, simple, isn't it? There we are, and so on and so forth. So round you go. There we are. So that looks quite good too. I won't do the other two sides, you know what it's going to look like. But what I do want to show you is a three-way, another funky stencil, and I won't actually do it because you know how it's done now, but I want to show you, for example, in my Gracie's stash here, here's another beautiful stencil, quite a wild one. Look, I'll show you that one, very chevron. And what I'm going to do is just show you how I arrived at a fantastic pattern too. So we'll put that one to one side and let's take a look at this one. How about that for funky? And this is done with 3 colours. Very interesting. I wanted to show you this, how you can see. If I take this one, again, this is using worn lipstick and broken china. You see, and when the worn lipstick overlaps the broken china, the blue, you get the lilac or the purple. Do you see how actually there are 3 colours going on here, aren't there? Now, if I take that away, you won't believe this, but this is using the exact same 2 ink pads with one addition. If I add mustard seed, a yellow, to the mix. So I've used broken china, blue, worn lipstick, pink, and then I've used mustard seed, the yellow. How interesting does that look? That is just by adding yellow to those two. I think that's astounding. And that's a superb stencil also for backgrounds. And once again, I wanted to show you the first generation result, and then the second generation, that more faded one. So there we go, a little trip around the Gelli Plate with some Distress ink pads. We did first generation ink, we learned how to turn it. We've started using our mega mount, our clarity mount, so that we don't suck the goodness out of the Gelli Plate. I think this is key. And later on another Tuesday, I'll be happy to show you the whole transformer trick where you actually use the Gelli Plate as a stamp. That's very cool too. But for today, I think I'll leave it there. There's our beautiful little girl on pink and blue, first generation, and there's another funky one. Thank you very, very much for joining me, and I shall see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye now.